Doesn't matter where you are, what's happening, doesn't matter if you feel tired, if you feel excited, if you're bored, you're just like thinking, why is she going on like this? However you are is absolutely perfect for what we're going to do. And I promise you that if you pay attention in this session, and I don't mean hard, but I mean, really put your phone on silent, turn it over so you're not distracted by the messages. Put your notifications off. Make sure that Gmail or whatever is minimized. Resist the urge of your fingers to go to the keyboard or pick up your mouse. I know all of you. I've taught for many, many years. And I was one of you a long time ago, and I'm still one of you because I watch a lot of webinars too. So I'm really honestly going to make this fun. I've been up since 5:30 this morning. I have a book deadline with Penguin that has to go in next Tuesday. It's a book that I wrote with the late Alec Badamsi. If any of you have heard of him, he was the biggest advertising guru in India before he passed away. 2 years on, the book is coming out. So I've been eating, living, sleeping, thinking Alec Badamsi for the last week. So believe me, as tired as you are, I'm probably worse. And I've got to do most of the work in our session today, right? But what I'm trying to say to you is have some sympathy for this side, have some empathy for over here. It reminds me of when I was a teenager, not a teenager, actually, I was 21. And I really didn't want to do accountancy. My dad was doctor, lawyer, or accountant. And I was like, Dad, no, and he was like, Vandana, no choice, doctor, lawyer, or accountant. And I wanted to DJ on local radio. So I used to go and on the quiet DJ on this local radio station, blindly thinking that there's no way my dad would ever listen to this radio station. Completely forgetting that some of his friends might. And of course, they called my dad up and they said, do you know that Vandana is on the radio every evening between 5 and 7? And my dad phoned me up and he was mad. And he was like, I am not paying for you to be on the radio. I'm paying for you to study accountancy. And I'm like, Dad, it's something I love. It's to give me a break from accountancy. Like you had cricket. And he couldn't say anything to me because he was actually on All India Radio many, many years ago. Anyway, so I was working for this radio station. And when you work in a radio station, the rooms that you're in are very, very small and they're very dark and they have this padding on the wall. So there's no echo, no echo. It is a very lonely, creepy place. And that's where I learned to kind of modulate my voice and try and talk to people and try and make things interesting. But it works both ways. So I need you as very much part of it. If you turn on your cameras, if you're smiling, if I can see your face and you're not on your phone, because when your eyes go down there, I know what you're doing, okay? So you need to just put it away. It's all the way over here. I'm not looking at it. It's upside down. And the door is shut. It's not locked because of emergencies, but it's shut. So hopefully just take a deep breath. We're going to have a great couple of hours. So got more screens on. I'm happy to see this. Sorry.
I think we can start. We're at 7:15 and we have a decent group already that has joined. So Nikita, I think you take it from here.
Hi Vandana, how are you?
Hi, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. So we can, I would like to start. Should we start, Madhuri?
Yeah, okay. I think she said we're okay to
go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second session of the Flame Incubator program. Let me start the session by giving a brief introduction of our speaker today, a very enthusiastic Vandana Saxena Poria. She's an entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, and chartered accountant. She's a disruptive visionary, master storyteller, and a curator who awakens and ignites organizations and people by disrupting mindsets and perceptions. As a human alarm clock, she assists individuals in recalibrating their internal compasses to create transform workplaces which amplify growth and profit with purpose. Vandana spent her first two decades in the UK, then moved to Eastern Europe for 10 years, where she worked for Ernst& Young and was one of the first globally trained people in IFRS. She set up her first startup in 1997, which was sold a year later to a listed company. She then founded the international division of the listed company and set up centers for them in over 10 years. In 2005, she moved to India to set up another startup, Get Through Guides, which she exited 3 years ago. She was honored with the equivalent of Padma Shri and OBE from Her Majesty the Queen in 2008, one of the youngest Asian females to receive this honor. In 2019, she was considered one of the top 100 influencers between the UK and India. Vandana is the advisor to the Institute of Chartered Accountants, England and Wales in India. She is a trustee for Global Leadership Organizations, Common Purpose, and was a non-executive director of the UK India Business Council until earlier this year. An avid mentor, she chairs the Associate Member Engagement for Thai Pune and runs a series called Wake Up, Speak Up, designed to get people thinking differently. Vandana, warm welcome and looking forward to a great session. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and it's great to be here. I am going to share my screen. Hopefully you're going to be able to see it. Oops. Can you see the screen? Yep. Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to keep the chat box open. So if you've got any questions at any time, you can either just unmute and ask me, or you can put questions in the question box and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so Nikita, thank you for that fantastic introduction, and thank you so much for the opportunity to do this session with all of you. So yeah, I've had quite an amazing career. I qualified as an ICAEW Chartered Accountant, so that's the equivalent of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I moved to Bucharest in Romania when I was 25, and I worked for EY. And so the first part of my non-chartered accountant profession was when I set up my own startup, and then I became the CEO of the international division, the company that bought me out. Then I ran Get Through Guides, and now I run the Human Alarm Clock. And I'm an author. I've got a couple of books coming out next year. So it's all very busy. And I did some really, really interesting things. I've always done things outside of my job. So I was very active with the British Chamber of Commerce in different countries. And when we came to India, I set up the British Business Group in Pune, which is a city that I live in even now. And so I've always made an effort to give back. Now, I could give back by giving money. I could give back by, sort of donating clothes and all of that. But I found the best thing that I could do was give back to being with students and entrepreneurs, because they're the ones who are going to create the economy that we want to live in, right? It's not going to be the big businesses. It's going to be the entrepreneurs. They can create employment. They can come up with great ideas. And I've seen in the box already that there's quite a few different ideas, and a lot of them are related to making the planet better, which is fabulous. So, I mean, I've done some really lovely things, and it looks quite amazing. Now, I'm sure all of us have got this little voice in our heads, and I'm sure that many of you have a little voice that's probably going, oh yeah, but she was born in England. Oh yeah, but she got all those opportunities, right? I know that little voice because I have it when I'm listening to speakers too. And some of you may be thinking, wow, that's amazing. And some of you might be thinking, I want to do that. And some of you might be thinking, I could never do that. And some of you are probably thinking, I want to do 10 times that, right? And that's okay. But I wanted to also show you all the different organizations that I've worked with, right? So this all still looks really impressive. And then you see photos of me in better days, of course, on the front cover of a magazine with the Prime Minister of the UK, with Richard Branson, with Priyanka Chopra at Buckingham Palace. And you think, oh my gosh, look at her life. But there's another side to my life, and that's the side that doesn't get discussed very much in public. And it's very, very relevant to the subject I'm doing for you, which is on mindfulness, right? Because we tend to think, these people who have got to the top of their careers, we tend to think, they've probably had a few setbacks, but probably not many. They don't know what I've been through. You know, that's what we think. I just want to show you a few things. These were things, actually, I need to move that bar down. I need to move that bar down to under this. All of these things happened to me before I turned 18, right? That was growing up in the UK. All of those things happened to me. I had a very, very tough time. I faced a lot of racism and bullying. I felt like an outcast. In the house, it was very Indian. Outside, it was very Western. My parents never had anyone non-Indian at home in all the years we grew up, right? So it was really strange. So we went through all of these. I had a Me Too experience, a pretty bad one, which happened to me right in the middle of my 12th exams. So I ended up not doing too well in them. So this is all behind all of the stuff that you just saw, you know, these lovely pictures, this, behind all of that was that. So did it get easier after I turned 18? No, it didn't. I had to deal with depression. I've had depression. Members of my family, very close family, have had it. Dealt with obesity. I'm divorced. I'm a single mother. So, you know, my life hasn't been easy. And what I want you to understand is this is what life is like, right? I hope that you will never go through all the things that I went through, but you're going through your own traumas every day. We're all going through our stuff. But we need to say, in spite of that, we need to get on with what we've got to do and make the world a better place so that other people don't have to go through those difficulties. One of the reasons why I love teaching is because I have made every mistake in the book, from almost going bankrupt to delivering something completely incorrectly for a client, losing a client, to winning a client, to having 1 million people use the textbooks that my organization produced. So that, you know, some really incredible things, but all of it happening at the same time, all of it chaos all around us, okay? So that's the background. So why am I doing this course for you? You're entrepreneurs. Why do you care about mindfulness or anything like this? Well, this is actually going to be part science lesson, but a fun science lesson, I promise you. So we're going to understand how our brains get busy and why it's not such a good thing to keep them fully busy all the time. And then to also understand that there are specific parts of your brain and your body that are causing you challenges. And by doing mindfulness, you start to pick those up. This is not some wacky science. This is you interpreting signs from your body. Now, all day, every day, we're trying to read other people, whether it's a lecturer in the classroom or whether it's our clients or customers or whatever. We're always trying to read other people. When do we read ourselves? When do we spend time with ourselves? And when I pause, for some of you, it's going to be really uncomfortable. For others, the internal voice is going off in their head going, do I pause? Yeah, I pause. You know, I went on a picnic that day, or I went and watched that movie on Netflix. Of course I pause. That's not pausing. That's not giving you time to read yourself. So how often do we do that? So here's a method, very simple method that you can use to declutter your mind. And through decluttering and working out what's actually really important, you can start being a bit more objective about your decision-making, about how you choose to spend your time, what kinds of conversations you have. Is it just about sport and the weather and the latest politics, or is it about making a change? Is it about something that's going to help your business? Are you getting an understanding of the environment? So can you be a bit more objective and therefore make better decisions? And most importantly, can you decide you know, there's work and there's life. I mean, for me, it's all one. I don't, you know, of life, right? How do we balance? How do we make sure that we keep ourselves so that we don't completely drain it out? Yeah. So that's what we're going to cover in the session today. If there's anything in particular that you want to cover, you want me to cover, if there are any questions you've got, please put them in the chat box, and I will keep periodically looking down at them. And okay, so when we're growing up, we are taught that life is like this. Do you agree? And I'm big on using emojis in Zoom. So please find that emoji button. And if you agree with something I say, or if you like, please do use, you know, the thumbs up or whatever emoji you like. So yeah, we always think this is what life's going to be like. It's going to be happily ever after, isn't it? And then we start going and it's like this. And we're just like, oh my God, I didn't realize this is what entrepreneurship was about. And this is, you know, et cetera, et cetera. This is what our life is like. Every day, this is what we face. It's like hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, right? I'm sure this is sounding familiar. So what do we need to do? Well, I think mindfulness is a potential tool that you can put in your toolbox for dealing with all of that. So what is mindfulness? So if you look at the definitions from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, mindfulness is a quality or state of being conscious or aware of something, right? What do I mean by that? I ask you to look around your room and find something blue, okay? Just look around your room and just find something blue. How many of you have found something that's blue? Yeah, I think most of you have, unless you're sitting, well, even if you look at the screen, you're going to see blue, okay? So I think most people have pretty much said, yeah, because the thing is, whatever you put your mind on, your mind will focus on, and you'll start seeing it everywhere, right? And that's what happens. So if you look around now, even if I say to you, don't look for the color blue, now you're just going to, oh, there it is, there it is, there it is. It's something that happens, right? That's you being conscious, okay? That's you being aware. I have made you aware of you being aware. Okay, and what we just did was we got you into a mental state by focusing one's awareness on the present moment. I got you thinking about blue right now, okay? That's what mindfulness is. Now, how can that be useful? You're probably thinking, okay, well, let it unfold and hopefully it will start making some sense. Now, the thing is, from a very, very early age, we have been programmed to be a certain way. And I want to give you a really good example, and it's from my own life. I started to look at, you know, because I've traveled and I've lived in so many different countries, I noticed how some countries, they were really open to making decisions, trying new things, innovating, failing, and other countries weren't at all. And I started to look at, sorry, is there a question? Gavin, have you got a question? Oh, okay.
No,
all right. Okay, no worries. And so I started to look at what is it that makes certain countries and certain races really innovative and okay to fail and others not. And I didn't have to look far because my ex-husband's family come from the villages in Gujarat, right? And they really come from the villages. They still live in the villages, most of his family. But his mum's family got out of the village and managed to make it to the UK. And within one generation, their kids were at Imperial, at Durham, Stanford, Harvard, etc., etc. And yet the family in the villages is still in the villages, right? So what was it that shifted these people? And what I realized was either you have to be taken out of your environment and really exposed to a completely new set of social norms, or in your current environment, You have to be shaken in your head, in your environment, so much so that you're able to see what you're not doing. Okay? And the only way we can do that is by unlearning everything we've learned so far. Now, that sounds a bit extreme, but we're going to try practicing a few things to kind of get our minds loosened up to the idea. And then we're going to see where mindfulness takes us. Have I lost anyone yet? Are you all still with me? Yes? Do I get a thumbs up? Yeah? Okay. All right. So if I think back over the last 10, 15 years, and I ask myself, when I talk to people, what is it that they're really looking for? Once they've got over, yeah, I want a promotion, I want my company to be a multi-million-dollar company. You know, when I ask them what they're really, really deeply looking for, these are the kinds of things that they've come up with. So those are some of the comments that I've had back from people from all over the world, that at the end of the day, whilst they are excited about their jobs and what they want to do and their potential business idea, what they do want is an underlying peace, right? An ability to be peaceful even when things are going turbulently. And that's quite difficult to do because, as you all know, when things get turbulent, the first thing that gets turbulent is our mind, and we kind of go on to autopilot. Yeah. So what I'd like to do now is do some breakout rooms, and I'd like a maximum of 3 people in a breakout room. So Madhuri or Nikita, will one of you be able to set up some breakout rooms for us?
Yeah, sure.
Let me just check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give us a moment.
And what I want you to do, and this is really important because it's going to help you later on in this session, I want you to discuss what causes you discomfort or anxiety, and also discuss what you really do about it to overcome it. Or is it just one of those things? And it's okay if it's just one of those things. Well, it's there. I can't do anything about it. So what's your answer? What are you really trying to do about it? Okay, looks like we are ready. So those 2 questions: discuss what causes you discomfort or anxiety, and discuss what you can really do about it. Can we make it 5 minutes? Oh, no, actually, let's make it more. Let's make it 10 minutes. In the meantime, be thinking about it. You can write some notes for yourself. Nikita, do we know, or Madhuri?
No, I'm just trying to check. Can we have like a minute?
Vandana, do we assign them manually, or do we let the participants?
No, yeah, just make it automatic.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've just said all the rooms are open, so I think they can just join as they're doing so.
Madhuri, can you make Vandana the host?
Yeah, just doing that. Okay, Vandana is already the co-host. I'm just making a host. Give me a moment.
Sorry, it's not allowing me to.
No, it will allow you now. I've made you the host. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just closing the breakout room that we made, and it'll just it'll take another minute by the looks of it. Okay, so hopefully you've got some thoughts around this. So what I'll do is I'll make the breakout room 6 minutes actually, because and that gives you about 2 minutes each. So I'm going to try and put 3 of you in a breakout room. So be thinking about your answers. Okay, right, so how many people do we have? So we have 39 people. Okay, so I'm going to create 15. Okay. All right, hopefully this will work.
Should we join them?
Do we need to join room number 7?
Yes, whichever room you've been moved to.
Hello. Hello. How are you? Can you hear me? Oh shit. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the people are.
I am in the.
I think there will be three people on.
Okay. Sumiran, have you not got a request? And Talam? Hi, did you not get a request?
I think I'm having a little hard time getting into that room.
Which room are you supposed to be in?
I'm supposed to be in, I think, room 7.
Room 7.
I was in room 7.
Okay.
But the thing is, they're not what we say participating. No one is there.
Even I had a room, I was there alone.
It's supposed to be only 3 of us.
I think we can start, right? I think, are we in the breakout room?
No, we are
No,
not.
we're not. We're in the main page.
We are the ones left behind.
Yeah, for some reason it's left you all behind.
No, it hasn't left me behind, ma'am. The thing is, the breakout room I joined, I was the only one in it.
Yeah, I know. And that's what somebody else just told me. And I can't seem to move you. This is the problem. I can't, it's not giving me the right to move you. Can you see any of the breakout rooms? If you press breakout rooms at the bottom, can you try and join?
Yeah, I can do that.
We can try and join room 7.
Yeah. Join any of the rooms that only have one person. Gosh. How come it didn't assign you?
Because it blocked me out.
Oh, why is that then?
Because I'm in under your connection.
Oh, I see. Did it not work?
No, unfortunately, I still can't find room. I keep getting pushed to room 8 instead of room 7.
Can you try and go into room 14?
When I hit breakout room, it directly pushes me to 8. I don't have an option to choose between.
Ah, okay.
I'm just trying to find if there is another setting I can look for.
And it's not allowing me to change my name.
Okay, so yeah, this is crazy. I'm so sorry, Nupur. Can you see if you can join another room? You might be able to.
I don't think so. I'm only allowed to join the room that I was assigned.
Okay, all right.
And now.
All right, so tell me, what do you do? Or what makes you feel uncomfortable then, or anxious?
I think quite a few things, especially like just this looming fear of not doing enough. I think.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's always there. But I don't think I'm actively doing something about it.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? We're our most important asset, and yet we don't do much about it.
Even if I try, I mean, I can't really figure it out yet. So yeah, and it's kind of just this voice that's always been there. So
yeah, so the thing that you need to do is to work out either how to disengage that voice or deal with it. There's a really good book. I don't know if you've read it by Dr. Carol Dweck, Growth Mindset. I would recommend it. It's a really easy read and it will probably help you.
I will definitely read that. But
yeah.
I did read about that book somewhere. I'm not too sure, but yeah. About the book, not the book itself.
Yeah. No, it's a really good book, and I actually teach it on the Flame postgraduate diploma in entrepreneurship.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So I've been teaching it. I taught it last year and this year. So yeah, it's good.
Which courses do you teach?
So I teach in the postgraduate. So I teach the growth mindset, mindfulness, and recalibrating. And I also do quite a lot in the leadership spectrum, intercultural space.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. I would love to class sometime. Yeah.
It's really fascinating stuff, actually. It has to be said. Okay. All right. I think we're getting everyone back now slowly. Okay. I'm going to close the rooms because I think we've been. Okay, we'll just wait for everyone to come back. They'll come back in the next couple of minutes.
Progress.
Okay, let's hear from a few of you then. Who's going to unmute and actually chat?
So can I go ahead? This is Vikas here.
Yeah, Vikas, please do.
Yeah. So what really causes my anxiety level is I am very passionate about my growth, and I feel that what if I don't reach there? So I want to be on the top of the pyramids in terms of growth as an organization. So while we have moved ahead from survival to growth phase, so but then what really creates anxiety is what if I don't reach to the top?
Yes. Okay.
Timeline.
Yeah, there's always a worry about what next and what about getting there, and am I getting too old, or have I left it too late? All of those kinds of things. Yeah,
And how do I disengage myself is to come back to work and start speaking with my clients. So that takes my attention away from the thought that I carry. Or I go to a simple meditation in the morning when I really feel anxiety in the night. So next day morning, I probably would go for meditation.
So the thing is, what you're looking at doing is kind of putting it aside, but not actually dealing with it.
While I wish to deal, but there are challenges. There are
Of course. I'm not saying they're not, but do you get my point? My point is that by doing a meditation, generally it's changing our frame of mind, but it's not dealing with the problem. Yeah?
Right, you're right.
So what we're going to be looking at doing is getting ourselves to a state where we can actually deal with the problem and understanding why we're not dealing with the problem, right? That's what we're going to unpick and uncover. Nikita, did you have a question?
I wanted to say that for the first time, I'm being in your session. And today, because of the breakout room, I'm speaking to somebody, a stranger, and I'm speaking about my anxiety. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's, I'll let you into a little secret. When we come to the amygdala slide, if I forget, then please remind me, because I'm going to tell you why I did that exercise. And you'll understand. Yeah. So it was very planned. Everything that I do in this session is honestly the culmination of thousands of hours of working with people like you to help you find a way to open up, right? So
thank
great.
You so much.
So yeah, thank you, Nikita, for sharing that. And AIF and PMS Experts India, I don't know what your name is, but thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, my name is Vikas Agrawal, sorry.
Vikas, that's right. You did say Vikas and I forgot. Okay, can we have one other person? What opened up for you when you were in your breakout room?
Do you want us to tell what happened? Like, what is the summary?
Well, just for yourself, what is it that does bug you or makes you anxious? And then what do you do about it?
So for me, what happens is that after working hours also, the notifications of the emails and the WhatsApps, which are there because everyone's now digitally working, right?
Yes.
That makes you anxious about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, there's something up over there. Because being an entrepreneur, you're on thousands of groups because you're just assigning work, right? And
yes.
Oh shit, this did not happen, that did not happen. So that makes me very, very, very anxious and worried. And the solution I've got for myself is, firstly, I've switched off all the notifications which will pop up on the phone.
Yeah.
So until I don't have to go to that mail or that WhatsApp, nothing's going to come to me.
Yeah.
So it's my free choice to see what I want to see.
Brilliant. That's a great strategy, Kevin. Thank you.
After 6 o'clock, I've kept my phone away, so I don't use it. I do things where I cannot use my phone. So that's what I've tried. Yeah, that's all.
That's great. So that means that you're, you're really exercising your mental muscle, which is as important as our physical muscle, right? So that's great.
Just trying.
Okay.
Sometime trying.
Yeah, no, that's great. Parvan, your hand is up. Why don't you go next? And then Ashinjina.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Parvan.
Sorry, I'm having a little technical issue here.
No, no worries. We're all having them today. It's okay.
So one of the few things that do lead to anxiety is when a number of clients and a basic, very fundamental problem of payments getting delayed or work getting delayed.
Yes.
Not meeting a timeline.
Yes.
And it's where the only solution to that is like literally brute force, head on, go at it as hard as you can and as nicely as you can go about doing it. But I know very clearly that is not the best way to do things, and it doesn't lead to any less anxiety.
No, and the other thing is then things just keep building up, don't they? And just more keeps coming, and you've got to be brutish all the time. And there are periods where it doesn't stop, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for sharing that.
Awesome.
Ashinjana?
Yes, good evening, ma'am, and
Hi.
thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak here. Firstly, you are probably the first person who's got my name right in the first go, which is really amazing. And I'm a second year student at Flame, so I think I would like speak on behalf of all my fellow UG2 students because
you've gone on to mute.
Sorry. Was also a UG2 student. I think the uncertainty of the future and what life holds for us in general is so nerve-wracking, and we don't know what we are doing, whether we are doing the right thing, we are making the right choices. Because once you start working, you at least have that certainty probably that, I'm doing something which has led me here. But right now at this stage, we don't know what we are doing. We are studying a few courses, but we don't know where that will take us. And I think because of that, we just enroll ourselves in all these different projects and these different internships, and we just overburden ourselves because we don't know what we are doing. So we want to explore everything, and then that gets so heavy for us, and
you get spread too thin.
Exactly. So I think you can't really, so we don't really do anything about it, but the stress and the anxiety just keeps building and building.
Yeah. And not knowing how to prioritize, not knowing what's right or wrong, and not realizing that there is no right and wrong, but still not being 100% committed to that one answer, I'm going to go in that direction.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Radhika and then Rasika.
Thank you for this opportunity. My biggest anxiety is someone else will control my life and I won't be able to make my own decisions, and someone will make decisions for me and just bombard them on me.
Yep.
So yeah, I am taking some steps and actions to control that.
How? What actions and steps are you taking?
Okay, so I am slowly starting making my own decisions. For example, this college was neither my parents' decision. I just said them that I'm joining this college. And also I am also an author, so I didn't say my family that I didn't ask them that should I publish. I just told them that I need to publish and I'm doing this. So these are the little steps that's making my family discomfortable, but I'm trying to take the decisions in my own hands.
So you're taking risks, right? And you're being courageous, right? So that's fabulous, right? So you're taking control. That's great. Rasika.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
So usually when things don't go according to me, and especially precisely it happens now I'm a student. So whenever we get any task to do any assignments or whatever, I set expectations quite high for myself. Oh yeah, I will be doing this. I'll definitely get a O grade, and I always work towards it that I want to be best.
Yeah.
And then because of some also uncertainties, time management, lack of things, it's sometimes impossible to manage things.
Yeah.
And then I start criticizing myself. Oh, like I'm not worth of it, and or maybe even though I will be like, no, I'm doing, I'll be like, it will be always constantly disturbing myself. I should just quit it, or maybe I can't able to do it. So this is to happen quite before a lot many times. Then I started building confidence in myself. I started working out, like I used to go for a walk or a run, and then I used to come back and I just told myself that whatever it is, just put forth your 100%. Whatever the results will be, then it's a little part. Don't criticize yourself to that limit. Right. And then it actually worked out for me.
It does. It's really, really incredible. Well done. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that's what it's about. It's about making sure that you set your mind on doing something no matter what, right? And we'll talk more about that. I would love to get all of you to speak. I'm going to get you to speak. Do share, excuse me, do share your thoughts in the chat box, and I will get some of you to speak in the next bit. But if we don't go on, I'm going to be here until 10 o'clock, and then you really will be cursing me, and I don't want you to. So, all right, what mindfulness has to offer. These are some of the things that mindfulness can give you if you give it a go. And we're going to talk about why a bit later. But all the things that you just said, all the anxieties that you just said, the one thing that you know is you created them. Other people may have contributed, but you actually created those anxieties. And if you can create them, you can actually uncreate them too. And that's really what we can do when we start delving into this part of self-development. Okay, so I was going to give you a video to watch. Actually, I will give you this video to watch. It is, I will put it in the chat box. Actually, no, I should be able to play it. So if I just stop sharing and put up, here we go. Right. Sorry, just give me a second. And I should share the sound.
You created a business. Now, create videos for your business.
If, in rush hour traffic, you can remain perfectly calm, if you can see your neighbors travel to fantastic places without a twinge of jealousy, if you can love everyone around you unconditionally, and if you can always find contentment just where you are, then you're probably a dog, right? We hold ourselves to these unrealistic standards of perfection, and then we judge ourselves when we don't live up to them. The thing is, we're not supposed to be perfect. Perfection isn't possible, but transformation is. All of us have the capacity to change, to learn, and to grow, no matter what our circumstances. As a professor and scientist, I study how people change, how people transform. And one of the most effective vehicles I've found is mindfulness. My own journey into mindfulness was unexpected. When I was 17, I had spinal fusion surgery, a metal rod put in my spine. I went from a healthy, active teenager to lying in a hospital bed, unable to walk. And during the many months of rehabilitation, I tried to figure out how to live in this body that could no longer do what it used to. The physical pain was difficult, but worse was the fear and the loneliness, and I simply didn't have the tools to cope. So I began searching for something that could help, and eventually this search led me to a monastery in Thailand for my first meditation retreat. At the monastery, the monks didn't speak much English, and I didn't speak any Thai, but I understood mindfulness had something to do with paying attention in the present moment. My only instruction was to feel the breath going in and out of my nose. So I began. 1 breath, 2 breaths. My mind wandered off. I brought it back. 1 breath, 2 breaths. It wandered again, sucked into the past or lost in the future. And no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't stay present. Now this was frustrating because I thought meditation was supposed to feel like this, and instead it felt more like this. Right? Being present isn't so easy. In fact, check it out for yourself. I've been speaking for about 3 minutes. Have you noticed your mind has wandered? All of our minds wander. Research from Harvard shows the mind wanders on average 47% of the time. 47%. That's almost half of our lives that we're missing, that we're not here. So part of mindfulness is simply learning to train the mind in how to be here where we already are. Like right now. Let's practice together. Allow your eyes to close and just feel your feet on the floor. Wiggle your toes and sense your whole body sitting here, softening the face, softening the jaw, and notice that you're breathing, feeling the breath as it naturally flows in and out of the body. Just being here. And as you're ready, taking a deeper breath in and out, allowing your eyes to open. So, back at the monastery, I was trying hard to do just this, to just be present. But no matter how hard I tried, my mind kept wandering off. And at this point, I really started to judge myself. What is wrong with you? You're terrible at this. Why are you even here? You're a fake. And then not only was I judging myself, I started judging everyone, even the monks. Why are they just sitting here? Shouldn't they be doing something? Thankfully, a monk from London arrived who spoke English. And as I shared with him my struggles, he looked at me and said, "Oh dear, you're not practicing mindfulness. You're practicing judgment, impatience, frustration." And then he said 5 words that have never left me. What you practice grows stronger. What you practice grows stronger. We know this now with neuroplasticity. Our repeated experiences shape our brain. We can actually sculpt and strengthen our synaptic connections based on repeated practice. For example, in the famous study of London taxi drivers, the visual spatial mapping part of the brain is bigger, stronger. They've been practicing navigating the 25,000 streets of London all day long. When you look at the brains of meditators, the areas related to attention, learning, compassion grow bigger and stronger. It's called cortical thickening, the growth of new neurons in response to repeated practice. What we practice grows stronger. The monk explained to me that if I was meditating with judgment, I was just growing judgment. Meditating with frustration, I'm growing frustration. He helped me understand that mindfulness isn't just about paying attention. It's about how we pay attention, with kindness. He said it's like these loving arms that welcome everything, even the messy, imperfect parts of ourselves. He also pointed out that we're practicing all the time, moment by moment, not just when we're meditating, but in every moment. We're growing something in every moment. So the question really becomes, what do you want to grow? What do you want to practice? When I left Thailand, I wanted to keep practicing mindfulness, and I wanted to understand it scientifically. So I began a PhD program, eventually became a professor, and I've spent the past 20 years investigating the effects of mindfulness across a wide range of populations, including veterans with PTSD, patients with insomnia, women with breast cancer, stressed out college students, high-level business executives, and over, the data showed 2 key things. First, mindfulness works. It's good for you. It strengthens our immune functioning, it decreases stress, decreases cortisol, helps us sleep better. When we published our first research back in '98, there were only a handful of studies. Now there are thousands of studies showing the beneficial effects of mindfulness. It's good for us. The second thing we learned was quite unexpected. Almost all the people we were working with, regardless of their age, their gender, their background, were talking about the same thing. This underlying sense of, I'm not good enough, I'm not okay, I'm not living this life right. This tremendous self-judgment and shame. And we all know what they were talking about, because shame is universal. All of us feel it. And worse, we have this mistaken belief that if we shame ourselves, if we beat ourselves up, we'll somehow improve. And yet, shame doesn't work. Shame never works. It can't work. Literally, physiologically, it can't work, because when we feel shame, the centers of the brain that have to do with growth and learning shut down. This fMRI shows the brain on shame. What happens is the amygdala triggers a cascade of norepinephrine and cortisol to flood our system, shutting down the learning centers and shuttling our resources to survival pathways. Shame literally robs the brain of the energy it needs to do the work of changing. And worse, when we feel shame, we want to avoid it. So we hide from those parts of ourselves we're ashamed of, the parts that most need our attention. It's just too painful to look at them. So what's the alternative? Kind attention. First, Kindness gives us the courage to look at those parts of ourselves we don't want to see. And second, kindness bathes us with dopamine, turning on the learning centers of the brain and giving us the resources we need to change. True and lasting transformation requires kind attention. And the monk's words echoed in my ears. Mindfulness isn't just about attention, it's about kind attention. This attitude of kindness wasn't just a footnote or something nice to have, it was an essential part of the practice, a part of mindfulness that's so often overlooked. So my colleagues and I developed a model of mindfulness that explicitly includes our attitude and our intention, as well as our attention. All three parts working together synergistically. Put simply, mindfulness is intentionally paying attention with kindness. We used this model while working at the Veterans Hospital for a group of men with PTSD. I was shocked to learn that we lose more veterans to suicide each year than to combat. Our soldiers carry so much pain and shame. So the intention of the mindfulness group was to cultivate this kind attention, even for the seemingly unforgivable parts of ourselves. There was one man in the group who never said a word, never looked up. 2 months passed, he seemed unreachable. And then one day he raised his hand and he said, "I don't want to get better. What I saw in the war, what I did, I don't deserve to get better." He then looked down at the floor and proceeded to tell us in great detail what he had seen and what he had done. And I can still feel the horror of what he shared and how his shame filled the room. I looked up to see how the other men were responding, and there was no judgment, only compassion on their faces. I invited him to look up and to witness this compassion and this kindness. And as he slowly looked around the room, his face began to soften. And in his eyes, there was hope. The possibility that he wasn't just his past actions, that he could choose differently now, that he could change. And this may be one of the most important things I've learned. It's that transformation is possible for all of us, no matter what. And it requires kind attention, not shame. And this kind attention takes practice. It takes lots of practice. I want to share with you a simple practice that continues to help me. Some years ago, I was going through a difficult divorce, and I'd wake up every morning with this pit of shame in my stomach. My meditation teacher suggested an explicit practice of kind attention. She said, "How about saying, 'I love you, Shauna,' every day?" I thought to myself, no way. It felt so contrived. She saw my hesitation and suggested, "How about just saying, 'Good morning, Shauna?' Oh, and try putting your hand on your heart when you say it. It releases oxytocin. It's good for you, you know." She knew the science would win me over. So the next day, put my hand on my heart, took a breath, and said, "Good morning, Shauna." And it was kind of nice. I continued to practice, and a month later, when I saw her, I admitted how helpful it had been. "Wonderful, you've graduated," she said. "Now, the advanced practice. Good morning, I love you, Shauna." So the next day, put my hand on my heart, anchored myself, and said, "Good morning, I love you, Shauna." I felt nothing, except maybe a little ridiculous, but definitely not love. But I kept practicing because, as we know, what we practice grows stronger. And then one day I put my hand on my heart, took a breath. "Good morning, I love you, Shauna." And I felt it. I felt my grandmother's love. I felt my mother's love. I felt my own self-love. And I wish I could tell you that every day since then has been this bubble of self-love and I've never felt shame or judgment again, and that's not true. But what is true is this pathway of kind attention has been established, and it's growing stronger every day. So I want to invite you tomorrow to put your hand on your heart and say good morning. And if you're really brave, good morning. I love you. Thank you.
Okay. So I hope you enjoyed that. Any reflections from that video? What resonated with you? Anyone?
The way waking up in the morning and saying good morning to yourself is extremely important.
Yeah, it is. And we don't do it, do we? We just get on with the day. Brush our teeth, wash our face, put our cream on, and then just out. Even when we see ourselves on Zoom, we're never talking. We might be looking at ourselves, but we're probably judging ourselves like, oh my God, my cheeks are looking, kind of, oh, my hair looks, whatever. But yeah, okay, so good one. Okay, anyone else? What resonated with you?
Hi, good evening. Tejaswini.
Yeah. Hi, Tejaswini.
For me, the way she started about meditation and talking about how the mind keeps wandering, especially during meditation, we start thinking of a lot of other things. Yeah. I've experienced that, and for the very same reason, I happened to quit on meditation because it all used to come to me again. Right. But then it was very helpful, and I'm going to practice those things.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. One more person?
Yeah, go ahead, Charles. I'll speak after you.
Okay, Manjushna. Bye. So even actually, I'm practicing meditation for quite some time. So even recently, I was realizing, and even she put it forward that it is not just about attention, but it's about even our, our attitude towards the attention. That is a kindness.
Yes.
And that is something that even I'm feeling when I do yoga and when I do meditation. What I'm feeling, what are my thoughts, my attitude actually matter a lot when I'm doing meditation yoga. And she put it very so nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's all about the attitude and the intention, isn't it? And it's not about, oh my God, I'm doing this wrong. It's about being kind and saying, hey, however I'm doing it, it's right. Madhuri, you were going to add something?
Yeah, so I just probably watching the video makes you realize how important it is to disconnect with the outside and connect with the inside, because normally we are so connected with the outside.
Absolutely.
That we just forget what is happening internally, which is what matters really.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Good point, Madhuri. Okay, good. Glad to see you got all of that, because this is the problem. This is why we can't do what we want to do. This is why our heads are so full. We look at these 3 gorgeous babies in the first 5 minutes on this planet. We decide their name, their religion, their nationality, their future path, right? We don't sit and think about, are they going to be kind, generous, and loving? And so we grow up with this all around us. We have contradictions going through society all the time. We've got what we want, and then we've got what our families want, what the media wants, what society wants. And there's all these messages being transmitted to us. It's no wonder we're confused and overwhelmed with everything, right? We're just full of this everywhere. And so we end up getting on the treadmill, as Vikas was saying. I want to be there. How am I going to get there? Right? That's what we're thinking all the time. And so then we get on the treadmill and we look for the next promotion. And then we run even harder in the next promotion. And we don't even look where we're going, actually. We just want to keep moving. And as a result, what happens is, just like we have bandwidth that you're able to see me on, we also have a mental bandwidth. And it's really important you think about how you're using that mental bandwidth. I think somebody's... Okay, thanks. So the problem is, all that worry we've got in our head, all that judgment about Am I doing it right, etc., etc.? It's taking up our bandwidth. And remember what she said, that when you're stressed and anxious, your amygdala is working. And when your amygdala is working, your growth and learning center shuts down. So you can't actually think, which is why often when something really bad happens, you go numb. It's because your growth and learning center has shut down. So Nikita was saying earlier that this was the first time she talked to a complete stranger about something. It's because I didn't give you guys a chance to think, right? I mean, I just basically said, right, I'm putting you in breakout rooms, and this is all about mindfulness. This is all about authenticity and being honest. And so you all just did it without thinking. If it had been any other course, it's very unlikely that you would have been willing to reveal such secrets about yourself. So what I did was I disengaged your amygdala, right? I stopped it from going off saying, oh, this is dangerous, by just making it a fun activity to do. So that's one of the most important things. The more fun you bring in, the more you're going to be able to widen that space. Okay, so we are like this, and yet we try and act like we are this. If you think about how a swan is, they look beautiful, they glide on the water. But if you look underneath, their feet are paddling furiously, right? Just to keep going. And that's how we are as human beings. And we get onto this conveyor belt that Vikas was talking about earlier as well. It's like, will I get there? Will I get to that point? And we literally become people on this conveyor belt. And I want you to think about being this little character over here, this one who's running away, doesn't want to be on that conveyor belt, is actually going to take charge of themselves and say, I'm going to run my life the way I want to run my life, right? That's what we want to do. So how do we do that? We pause. And so what I'd like you all to do is, just like Shona got you to do, I want you to just take a deep breath in. Deep breath. In that pause, in that moment, that's where you have clarity. That's where you see things much more objectively. And that's why it's important to just stop every now and again, pause, just concentrate on your breathing or something else. Now we'll be talking about how we do it in a second. But you've all, and we've talked about this, that little voice in your head, all of you know that that little voice exists. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare because it's always talking. And I'm not going to do this because you did this with Shona, but you know what's happening inside of you. You've got that little voice that's always talking. So we've got to find a way to quieten that little voice. And there are ways to do it. So one of the most successful ways is mindfulness. And they say, and I would honestly, I would say this from all the courses I've done, 8 weeks to a better brain. If you practice for 8 weeks regularly, then again, what you practice grows stronger. So if you learn how to be mindful for 15 minutes a day, you'll find that that mindfulness will start manifesting throughout the day. So that's why a lot of people do it first thing in the morning. So they train their brains for the rest of the day. And it lasts normally until about lunchtime, I'll say. And then it kind of goes back to, oh my God, I'm frazzled. But you can see all these articles everywhere that talk about this thing called neural plasticity and the idea that mindfulness actually helps you become more compassionate and more empathic. Okay, any questions at this point? There's a few hands up. I don't know if that's from before or after. Any questions? One of the things that many of you must be thinking, even when you were watching that video, you probably did get distracted, right? Some of you a little bit, some of you a lot. It's normal Don't think that you're not normal. How many of us are sadhus in the cave, right? The answer is not many, right? And if we were sadhus in the cave, what are we doing on the flame course anyway? So the point is, you are very normal. It is okay for your brain to get distracted. That's the first thing. Before I go on, Pradnya, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we were doing the activity,
Yes.
the second question was, what do we really do about it? And one of the answers was meditation.
Aha.
But, I think we mentioned that
yes,
that's not really dealing with it.
Yes.
So my
You're right.
question is, what is the difference between mindfulness and meditation?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Mindfulness and meditation are very similar, but the main difference with mindfulness is something that can be done all the time if you're in the zone, right? So as a result, you will be able to look at the problem that you're facing and actually view it very objectively. Meditation tends to be a period of time where you sit down and you concentrate on doing an activity like opening up your mind, silencing, but you're not always in a meditational state all the time. With mindfulness, you might do a practice like meditation, but then after that, as much as possible, you try to come back to the present moment and view without emotion what's going on around you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So what happens inside us is we've got our emotions and we've got our thoughts and we've got feelings, and they're all kind of like very muddled up together, right? And we make decisions. Now, I'm going to send you the link to this. I'm not going to actually put the video on because it kind of summarizes what we did with Shona. But basically what this says is that when you do something new for the first time, new connections are made inside your mind. And automatically, like a domino, you suddenly start thinking lots of new things. And the more you do one particular thing, the more your brain gets habituated to doing that one particular thing and doesn't like to do other things, which is why you should always push yourself to go outside of your comfort zone. Because when you go outside of your comfort zone, something happens in your brain where the synapses kind of pull together more. And as a result, you have more and more different types of thoughts. So neurosynaptic transmission, I'm going to skip that and I'm going to go to this one, which is more important, which is saying that neurons that fire together eventually wire together. So if you keep this practice up, if you do say 10 or 15 minutes every day, then automatically it's like you're doing double or triple in a month's time because you've strengthened all those pathways. All right, and that's something that Shona talked about as well. I'm going to move on to this because this is an important thing before we actually do a practice. The question is, what do you want to grow? If you're constantly thinking about getting to the top, then think about what you're growing inside of you. You could be growing growth and development, but you could also be growing impatience. When am I going to get there? You could be growing uncertainty. Will I ever get there? And if you're always uncertain about this, you're going to start becoming uncertain about other things too. So the question is, what do you want to practice? And the more you practice a particular thought form, it's the same as going to the gym. Those muscles are going to get stronger. In your head, those ideas are going to get stronger. So let me skip through this. I want to actually go to an example. I'm going to actually take you to, we're going to do an actual mindfulness exercise, and then I'm going to come back to this. Here we go. Have you got your raisins? If you haven't, what I'm going to do is give you a 5-minute break. And in the 5 minutes, go take a bathroom break, whatever. Go and find 2 raisins, and a glass of water. Okay. So I make it 8:26. We're going to start again at 8:31. Okay. Have you all got your raisins? Yes? All right, good. Right, let me just get the link for you. And of course, I've lost it now. Excuse me just 1 second. Where's it gone? It's disappeared. How strange. Okay, I will just get it from the internet then. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do this time is I am going to actually put the link in the chat box, because it's really important that it works for you and you don't miss out bits of it. So the link is there. The video is 12 minutes 24. So I'll expect to see you back in about 13 minutes. Okay, so enjoy. Okay, if you're back, then let's have you back online. It'll be great to see your faces. It's quite incredible, isn't it? Just, did you ever think you could spend 12.5 minutes with 2 raisins? No, but it's so interesting the way he does it. You get so captivated with his story and, you know, your own exploration of this tiny little thing and where it's come from and where it goes back to and all of this. And there's many, many levels that you can take this in at. The first level is, wow, I didn't think I could concentrate on a raisin for 12 minutes. And maybe you didn't concentrate all the time. That's absolutely fine. For others of you, it might be, wow, that really shows me the circle of life. For others, it may be something else. Whatever you got out of it was what you got out of it. But I'm very interested to know, does anyone want to come out and speak? Maybe if we can get a couple of you to give your thoughts. Gavin.
Just like a raisin, as an entrepreneur, we think that whatever we want to do in terms of work, we should keep seeing that in every different perspective, every different way to actually go to a conclusion rather than just jumping to something.
You know, that's such a profound statement that you just made. That's such a fantastic statement. That is, you know, we talked about the difference between meditation and mindfulness. Meditation was the practice that you just did. Being mindful is being able to take that experience and convert it to something that you can actually use. And Gavin, what you said was absolutely right. We keep thinking about jumping. What about the whole process? Who are we helping? Why are we doing what we're doing? What benefit are they going to get out of it at the end of it? It changes the whole way we think. So the more we do meditation, the more we will start to think differently because we're giving ourselves space to think. Now, there's a challenge though. So I'm glad we talked about that. Let me just get this back up. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. Whoops, there we go. Yeah. So we talked about what was going on inside of you. How many of you found it difficult to concentrate? And that's absolutely fine. So either in the chat box or out loud, you know, please, you know, how many of you found it difficult? Rasika? Yeah. So tell us your experience.
First of all, keeping like we had kept it like for long, right? And it was such a slow process to eat it, and I was like, I'm smelling it and tasting it. Like at times I was like, why can't I just simply eat it? But then when I was reconnecting it with some different things, I was like, yeah, this is fine. This is like just about reasons, about this activity. But there are so many things in my life which I should really be focusing and thinking through, rather than always being a race. Yeah. Like, you know, I have to just reach there. Yeah. Instead of that being, you know, focus at every step.
Exactly. Focus on the journey itself, not the destination. Yeah. That's the key message of what we were just doing. And Rasika, that's great. And it's okay. Don't get mad with yourself for being impatient. That's part of who you are. Celebrate it. There are things about that are really helpful. Having said that, see if you can extend the practice, because the more you extend it, the better you get at it. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So in the time that you were doing the activity, most of the time it sounded like you were concentrating on the raisin, which is fantastic, which is what you were supposed to do. The reason why I say it's fantastic is because we don't live in the present. We think we do, but we don't live in the present. Let's look at where we live. There's a really fantastic series of seminars called Landmark, the Landmark Forum. Some of you may have heard of it, but they give this example, and I think it's a very powerful one. Imagine, right, so you're all students at Flame, and you're all tired. It's like, you know, Wednesday, you still got Thursday and Friday to go. And let's say you've got loads of assignments on that have to be in on Saturday, right? Or Saturday evening, they have to be in, or maybe even Monday morning. Friday night, you're really tired and you pick up your phone because it's ringing and you see that it's one of your professors, right? And you're just like, oh my God, this is the last thing I need. I've got assignments to do. I've got work to do. I've got my friends that I want to see. But you pick up the call from the professor and the professor says to you, I have got some really great news. You have been doing so well. We're so proud of the work that you've done that we've decided that from Flameside, we're going to give you a 4-day trip to Goa. Now, all of a sudden, where's your anger? It's gone, right? It's gone. Why? Where's your head? Where are you now? You're in Goa, right? You're thinking about the beach. You're thinking about, you know, the sea, etc., etc. Okay. Let's say actually it's not 4 days, it's 7 days. 7 days. So you're really, really excited. So how are you going to be when you're finishing off all your work that evening? Are you going to be in a mad mood or are you going to be in a great mood? You're going to be in a great mood, right? So finishing it and you're probably ringing your friends saying, oh, guess what? I got chosen as one of the best students. And all of this, you're going to be phoning up your friends and you're going to be doing all of that. And you're going to get on the plane and you're going to go and you're going to be so happy that you're in Goa, right? Now, fast forward a week and you are in Goa and it's like beautiful, like you're watching the sunset and everything looks absolutely fantastic. And you suddenly get tapped on your shoulder and it's the guy from reception. And he says to you, Madam or Sir, what time would you like your taxi tomorrow? Now, immediately, as soon as he says that, what happens to your face? It was smiling. It's just like, why? Where are you? You're in the future. You're back at work. You're back studying. So you're already, even though you're still in Goa, you are thinking about the future. So this is what happens. We end up not living in the present. And being in the present was that moment when you were connecting with your raisins and thinking about its life cycle and looking at that raisin, listening to that raisin. I mean, I tell my daughter that I do this every now and again, and she goes, Mummy, I think you've joined a cult. She's like, that's not normal. You don't listen to raisins. And I'm like, you should try it. It's so amazing. Doesn't work with kids, unfortunately. So don't try it. If any of you got younger siblings or kids, know it doesn't work. So the point is we have to get out of living in the future. And the thing is, not only do we live in the future, we take all our baggage from the past and we put that in the future when we're uncertain about things. Oh, it went wrong over here, so it's going to happen over there. And we completely miss out on the present. Okay, so we've got to somehow bring ourselves back and ground ourselves in the present. So this is a great quote from Mark Twain. I am an old man and have known a great many troubles, but most of them have never happened. Because 90% of those uncertainties that we have in our head, never going to happen. You know, that what if that we do all the time is going to happen, you know, one time out of maybe 500. So we still put a lot of emphasis on this uncertainty because of that past. Okay, so these are the key things. Oh, so Kavin, sorry, did you want to ask a question?
No, ma'am, I want to bring in a point over here.
Yeah, sure.
That generally uncertainty comes only when a situation like this comes in, when someone very experienced comes and tells you, oh, you know what, if you don't do this, this is going to happen. I have experienced it. You have not experienced it. So you're in such a confusion that do you have to follow this experienced guy or do you not? Because or else you don't know what's going to happen to the future until someone's told you it's going to be a worry, right?
That's true. The thing is, what you can't discount is somebody else's lived experience, right? So that is what they've been through. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go through it. So again, if you can be objective, if you can take what they say, and this is where you have to kind of prioritize and give it merit. And you've got to say, okay, are times the same? Am I that kind of person? And is it likely, therefore, it's going to happen again? Instead of getting emotional, which is what most of us do, and go, oh my goodness, it's happened to him, so therefore it's definitely going to happen to me. It's not true. It's absolutely not true. So that's why it's really important for you to center and ground yourself so that you're able to look at the situation objectively.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the challenge when it comes to mindfulness and meditation. We are really bad people. We've been brought up terribly in this respect. We judge. And in mindfulness and meditation, we say, don't be judging. No judgment, right? So no right, wrong, good, bad, no judgment. Second is patience. I think it was either Rasika or Radhika who said, I think it's Rasika who said, you know, every now and again I'd get impatient, you know, we need to get on. Just having that little bit of patience and saying, let it unfold is a great place to be. The third one, a beginner's mind. I've got a great photo that just really is, I think that's just gorgeous. Look at that little baby, right? That's a beginner's mind, isn't it? It's just like, oh my gosh, you're seeing it for the first time. Like when he said to you about the raisin, imagine you've come from another planet and it's the first time you've seen a raisin. It's like, you know, when you treat incidences like that, you don't go into fear mode, you go into curiosity, right? So that's what we're trying to do. Another one of the foundations of mindfulness is trust. You've got to trust the process. And we'll come on to expectation in a minute, but you have to trust that it's going to do something for you. You might not see the result today, but you will see the result at some point. Non-striving, don't try too hard. Remember what Shona Shapiro was saying, that she was trying so hard to meditate and then she started getting, you know, looking and why isn't it working for me? It is working for you. Accept that it's working for you. There's no textbook that says this is the right way to do it or that's the wrong way to do it. No, however you're doing it is just fine. Accept yourself for who you are and what you are in this moment now. So non-striving. Acceptance, we just talked about it. Just accept the situation. I've got 12 minutes, doesn't matter what this little voice is saying. I'm just going to accept that I'm going to do this activity. And let go of any preconceived ideas. Let go again of any thoughts of, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Etc., etc. So those are what we call the 7 attitudinal foundations of mindfulness. And if we can keep them at the back of our minds, not just when we do the activity, but actually all day, our lives will just generally be much, much happier. So a good quote, I think here, don't meditate to fix yourself, to heal yourself, to improve yourself, to redeem yourself. Rather do it as an act of love, of deep, warm friendship to yourself. In this way, there's no longer any need for this subtle aggression of self-improvement, for the endless guilt of not doing enough. It offers the possibility of an end to the ceaseless round of trying so hard that wraps so many people's lives in a knot. Instead, there is now meditation as an act of love, endlessly delightful and encouraging. Yeah? So just to hell with everything else. We're just going to do this. We're going to take this time out and we're going to be mindful. So we talked about meditation and mindfulness. Meditation is the practice, that intentional period of time where you're using it to calm yourself, concentrate, and be aware. Mindfulness is being able to continue it and being in the present moment as much as possible, consciously in the present moment. So what happens when you practice mindfulness? This is actually what happens. That big area that you had of worry of questions, of fear and anxiety starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So you've got much more space to really focus on what it is that you want to do. So if you're interested in doing practices, I've got some resources that I am going to send to you. I'll send you a copy. I'll send a PDF of this to Madhuri and Nikita, and then they can share it. But I just want to ask you in the last sort of 10 minutes, first of all, I'm happy to answer any questions that you've got, but I hope that's given you a good introduction. And the two resources that I'm sending to you, one is a Coursera course that you can do free of charge. And the other is something called Palouse Mindfulness that you can also do free of charge. So one of them is on Coursera and the other one is just a website, and you follow the instructions, and then it leads you into a Facebook group if you're interested and you want to be able to discuss your, what you're going through. But what I'm really interested in is either through the chat box or, raise your hand and come online. What did you discover in this session? What from today could help you relax if you practiced it? So Chinmay, let's have you.
I think for me, one of the most important things that I will take away from this session is not to have preconceived notions before getting into mindfulness and practices of meditation. So that dogma, or you just to go with an open mind and try everything out. Let's see what works for me, and get on with it, really.
That's fantastic, Chinmay, and thank you for bringing that point up. I have had so many students in my various courses, whether it's been at Flame or elsewhere, who said, oh my God, my dad is always telling me to meditate and I don't want to do it because, I don't want to be like him or whatever. Or people, they think that meditation is satsangs or, something else, but it's not. Meditation is a practice that you make your own. Don't let anyone make it for you. You decide how you want to be. Fantastic. So, okay, so somebody said that it's a good reminder that you need to be kinder to yourself. Good lesson that it doesn't have to be hard. Absolutely. Any questions? Anyone else want to comment? What did you discover in this session? What from today can help you relax if you practice? Ashinjana?
So probably something I learned is to live in the moment and not really think about the future, because if you live in the moment, the future just pans out itself. I think that was a really important lesson I learned today.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not to say we should never think about the future, but, actually to do a few mindful activities and then think about where do you want your path to go? That's fine. Put the intention there. But then, really enjoy walking on the path. I think I spent all of my 20s and possibly most of my 30s just trying to be something. And I look back now and I just think, wow, I mean, yes, it's taught me a lot. I don't regret it. But I just wish I'd told my younger self that just walk the path, enjoy walking the path, get the most out of what you're doing instead of thinking about being there. So great. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so Swapnil saying focus on the journey, not the destination. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Radhika, knowing your inner self. Anyone else? Any questions? Meghna?
Hi. Yeah, so I just wanted to say about one of the things I got out of this was just to accept. So now that I finished my 12th grade recently, and I was very stressed at the time, trying to do everything online. And I was really worried that I wouldn't get my marks. And I was extremely, not in a very good mindset. But then I got a vacation, I got time to calm down, and I was like, it's okay. It doesn't matter what my marks are. I'm anyways going to go. I know where I'm going. It doesn't matter. So just leave it at that. It's not going to, make much difference. So
brilliant. And what has that done for you?
It's made me like opened up. It's removed all frustration, all the anger that I had. It's made me like, looking forward to what's going to happen instead of, being upset and moody about what has already happened.
That, Meghna, thank you for bringing that up. It's a really, really important point. That's the whole thing about the amygdala in the brain. That's the fear bit. When we concentrate on that, growth and learning center shuts down. So as soon as you start to open your growth and learning center, then you'll find you'll suddenly start having new ideas. And Drishti's put it up as well. Without realizing it, she's been focusing on her insecurities and fears. And yeah, we end up making decisions from a fear mindset, not a growth mindset. And one of the courses that I teach at Flame, I teach on the postgraduate diploma in entrepreneurship, is on growth mindset, which has as an important component mindfulness, because it's exactly that. If you concentrate, if your decisions are driven by fear or by scarcity, then you are going to end up making decisions that are going to always keep you in scarcity. If you make decisions based on abundance, you'll find that abundance will come. It's not a karmic thing, it's an energy thing. It's just normal. If I'm stressed all the time, I will make decisions that are based on stress, that are going to be short term. If I'm calm, I'm going to be thinking about what's going to be important for the long term. So that's a great point too. So thank you both, Meghna and Drishti, for bringing up those points. Anyone else? Yeah, I got another direct message from somebody in the chat box. What you practice will grow is the biggest learning today. I should practice to be patient, let go of things and live in the moment. I promise you, it only takes like 5 or 10 minutes a day. But if you're serious, if you're looking at really developing a practice, which I would strongly recommend you do, if you realize that you are impatient, if you realize that you do have uncertainty and thoughts, just try this. Try joining Palouse Mindfulness with Dave Potter. He's the guy who did the Raisin meditation, or Foundations of Mindfulness, both of them free of charge. You can try online. Maybe get a group of you together who are interested. You can even set up a WhatsApp group. I'm quite happy to provide some articles, although Palouse has got loads of really, really great articles. But I hope that's been a useful session for you. I hope it's been a good use of your time on this Wednesday evening. Thank you so much for paying attention and being part of the session today. I've really enjoyed being here. You've been really interactive. You've been so honest and open. And so I'll leave you with my catchphrase, which is be playful, courageous, and curious in whatever you choose to do. And bring mindfulness in, and you'll find that between being playful, courageous, and curious and being mindful, everything will start fitting into place. And if it doesn't fit into place, you'll know how to make it fit into place. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Connect on LinkedIn. Happy to chat, happy to answer any questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Vandana. I think that was an awesome session. I think everyone will agree with me. It was a real eye-opener of sorts, because sometimes we just don't realize, what kind of mind state we are in. But when something like this, it's like a reality check to an extent. So I think this has been great. Just like Nikita said, you gave us the opportunity to, bring out that side of us, which normally we wouldn't want to showcase or even touch upon. But I think which is very important. So that's been a great learning. I think for me, the biggest takeaway would be jump off the conveyor belt, because I think that's what we need to do, and be the little one that goes in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So that
great advice, I think, Madhuri.
I think that would be helpful. So I'll be sharing your email ID with all of them, if you don't mind. So
Sure.
I'm sure a lot of them would want to reach out to you.
Sure. Happy to. And as I said, I'll PDF the slides and I'll send them over so that they've got them as reference as well.
Sure, sure. And we'll be sharing the recording also. So they have that as well as an aid to work with. So great. I think, Vandana, thank you so much again for this lovely session.
You're welcome.
And looking for more opportunities to connect this way, and of course, lots more.
All right. All right, then, everyone, take care and best of luck in your ventures.